Welcome, I'm Caren. Thanks for being here with me. As you can see, there are a lot of things on my mat. We're going to be using all of them in this restorative yoga practice. Restorative yoga aims to completely support the body so that the mind can relax, the body can relax. So gather up all those things from your house, pillows, blankets, blocks. Here's a list of exactly what you'll need. You'll need several things for this practice, including a couple pillows, a yoga bolster if you have it, 2 blankets, 2 blocks, and an eye pillow. After you've gathered up all of your things, meet me back on your mat and set up near an open wall space. We'll use that at the end of practice. Let's get right into it and begin in side lying stretch. So take a bolster and place that across your mat, and a pillow here in front of that for your head. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a couple pillows. We'll find a blanket and fold it up so it's pretty thick. Then sit here on your right hip, right next to the bolster. Arrange your legs to the side and place the blanket in between the knees as a buffer. You might also enjoy a second blanket to place on top of you if you should get cold. So you can do that now. Once you've draped yourself with an optional second blanket, reach long through your side body, extend down through your right arm in front of you, and lay the side of your face on the pillow. Option here to bend into both arms and stack as you realign the rib cage in line with the bolster. Feel your hips starting to melt down to the ground, your shoulders stacking, and maybe close the eyes if it's comfortable. In these first few moments of arrival in a shape, check in and release any residual tension you may be holding on to, maybe in the knees, in the feet, in the arms, and the face. And before we completely sink in, let's draw a bit of movement into the shape. Take your top arm, plant the hand to the shoulder. Reach your elbow lightly up toward the ceiling. Let's take a couple circles with the breath, drawing little circles here through the elbow toward the ceiling, finding some motion through the shoulder forward and back. And connect that movement to your breath. Start to deepen the breath. Now that you've gone one way, let's go the other. Still staying deep and slow with the breath. And finally, return back to the center. And at this time, instead of stacking the arms, extend the top arm overhead. The fingertips long. Reach the upper arm to the side of the face and just let it cradle there gently. And then relax completely into the upper body. So much about this restorative practice is just finding more ways to completely relax. So if anything doesn't feel good, doesn't feel completely supported, take a few moments and readjust so that you develop that comfort for yourself. Feel the gentle rise and fall of the rib cage with every breath in and out. Notice what has arrived here in the mind. Bring yourself back to the felt sensation of your body, cascading like a wave of water over the props, over the earth. Take one more breath here in side lying stretch. Then prepare yourself for movement. First, the arm, if it's extended overhead, bring it back in line, arms to stack. Open the eyes gently if they're not already. Plant into your hands. Very slowly, mindfully, press yourself out of the pose to come upright. And from this space, we'll simply switch around and turn to the other side. So face backward from your prop, squeezing the blanket in between your knees. Drop your legs to the other side, rearranging any blanket you may have over you. And then from this space, sitting tall with your hip to the bolster, extend long through the side body. Come down to the ground, rearrange the pillow underneath the side of the face, and arrive with both of your arms stacking. Readjust your legs if necessary. Find complete comfort here in your lower body. And bring the top arm up to touch the shoulder through the hand. Like a little wing, we'll start to move, taking simple inhales and exhales to draw circles through the elbow toward the ceiling. Let each movement bring you deeper into an understanding of how your body is moving right now at this moment in space. Switch out your circle on your next breath so that you can simply begin to commune with the body, to see what is physically here now, with no intention of changing it, just being with it. Gently exhale, release the movement. Maybe extend that arm now overhead so the bicep cradles alongside the face, the ear, fingers soft, and then let go of the effort in that top arm so that there is no holding into the top arm. Soften the tongue in your mouth. Feel your rib cage melt against the support. Making any little micro adjustments as necessary so that you become even more relaxed. Check back in with your body, with your breath. Let this next exhalation bring even more softness to the face, the corners of the mouth, the corners of the eyes. Let the ground receive you, support you. Find one more easy breath here. And then begin to move. If the arm is extended overhead, bring it back in line with your shoulder. Plant down through the hands. Very slowly, emphasis on slow. Press up and out. Let the transitions be just as mindful as the time in the poses. And turn back to face away from the bolster and set the blankets aside for now. And just windshield wiper the legs back and forth, supporting with your hands. Once you bring your legs back up to the starting point, we'll set up for our next pose, supported seated angle. So we'll remove the bolster from the mat, set that to the side, as well as the pillow. Either using a little bit of your blanket to sit up on, or maybe the edge of one of your pillows, bring that behind you and extend your legs open to a V, seated on the edge of that pillow or blanket. And then as you stretch the legs long, note that they don't have to come to their most deepest point. Instead, bring the legs in a little bit so that you still find some comfort in your inner legs. Now, in order to come forward into our seated supported angle, you may need a couple things. So depending on how far it is that you bend forward in space, you could use a bolster along with some blocks to build up a bit of support, or you may come all the way down to the ground and need no support except for the bolster. So here's what it looks like if you choose to use the blocks. You'll place one block at the highest height, away from you, other block at a lower height in between, and then ramp the bolster up. And you can use additional pillows and additional blanket on top here so that when you hinge forward, your head can relax on something. Final bit of piece to the puzzle is another blanket, and open that so that you can wrap it around your low back area and tuck it gently into your inner legs. Now, once you've got everything set up and you feel like your upper body is supported in some manner, bringing the bolster up even closer if you need it, then just drape your upper body down. Find the forehead or side of a cheek to the prop in front of you and let your arms relax down by your sides. Check back in very briefly, noticing if the inner legs have too much sensation, if the low back has too much sensation. And add or remove props as necessary so that you can be relaxed. Part of what we let go of in the restorative practice is this idea that we should be anywhere other than where we are. It's one of my favorite mantras. Where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. Let the body arrive in stillness. Feel the breath move into the back of your rib cage. And on the exhale, feel for the chest melting forward toward the props, toward the floor. Please find 3 more breaths in this pose. Begin to think about moving. And bring now that impulse into the hands. Press gently into the hands and inhale. Walk yourself back upright, nice and slow. Rest for a moment with your shoulders above your hips. Just notice the effect on the body of that sensation of lightness and freedom that comes with these forward bends. Now we'll begin to dismantle whatever you have in front of you. So taking everything off to the side. Take your hands now underneath your knees and support the legs as you bring them into center. Hug the knees in toward one another and in toward you. Interlace your hands around your elbows and just curl up into a ball for a moment, perhaps forehead to thighs to knees. And now inhale and lift back up and out. And we'll transition to the back. But before we come down, we'll come off of whatever we're seated on. Set that to the side. Take a blanket and open it up to a thin fold. This will be some comfort for the head. So that will come to one side of your mat. Keep your eye pillow handy. Set your bolster then about to the middle of your mat, moving into supported bridge pose. So sit up on the bolster, plant your feet about hip distance apart, if not a little wider toward the edges of your mat, and ease your way down. Take the blanket underneath the neck, above the shoulders. You can even roll it up a little bit and use that as a support for your neck curve. Now readjust the bolster underneath your hips so that it arrives at your low back space. A little bit of your glutes hanging off the edge of the bolster and no tension here in your low back. Really let that support serve to soften your low back. And the hands can be draped down by the sides, palms face up, or maybe wider out to the sides if you'd like a little shoulder opening. Readjust here through the feet and the knees so that they can be held up on their own with very minimal effort. Now, if all has arrived and feels comfortable here, perhaps find your eye pillow and place that on top of your eyes. Anytime that you feel comfortable with blocking out external light from your vision, it's a useful tool to move inward deeply, even more into your body, into your own experience. Instead of focusing what's out there all the time, which is often what gets us feeling in these states of overwhelm, of not good enoughness. But when we can shut off the eyes, come to our inner experience, we can see that all really is well within. If we shed all expectations, all actions, there's a deep inner stillness that we access, not only through this practice of restorative yoga, but yoga in general. And so whether you are familiar with this space or just coming to know this inner space, be patient with yourself. Let the body rest first, and the mind will follow. Find one more breath here. And truly sink in on your exhale. And to come out, eye pillow removes first if you have it. One knee and then another. Bring them into the chest. Feel that elongation come into your low back, a bit of pressure to move your shoulders, your upper back, your head forward and away from the bolster. Offer some light into your eyes. Extend one arm overhead and roll over to your side. From this space, just gently keep going. Inhale and press yourself up enough so that you can move the bolster away from underneath you. And take that bolster now behind you alongside the mat. With the bolster behind you and the blanket still remaining for your head, take a pillow and place that in between the knees for supine supported twist. If you like, you can also grab another blanket so that you can keep warm. I tend to get cold as the body cools down in these poses, so having a big cozy blanket nearby can help with that for you. Let the knees stack right in line with the hips and the feet down from the knees. And then lower yourself, right arm or whichever arm is on the ground, stacking with the top arm, and then your head facing the same direction as the knees down to the blanket. Now reach back behind you and snug the bolster down into your low back curve so that there's a little bit of space for your arm and your shoulder that won't hit the bolster. Now that you have that, inhale and lift the top arm up toward the ceiling and open up into your twist. Scoot your other shoulder wide so that both of your arms come nice and wide. You can always cactus through your fingers a little bit through your arms, or bring the arms straight out here from the shoulder sockets, depending on how much room you have. Now the head and the neck can be wherever it's most comfortable, so perhaps chin up toward the ceiling, maybe cheek to the ground, or turning all the way to look in the opposite direction of your knees. Feel as though your hips are stacking one on top of the next, fully supported in your low back through the bolster. And then relax more effort in the knees, in the feet, the inner legs soften. As you breathe in and out, feel that gentle compression through the side bodies. Squeeze the blanket gently in between your knees. Plant into your feet, your toes, and lift just your legs up to the center. Scoot your hips a little bit to the side so that you can arrive right in the middle of your mat, maybe sending the bolster to the side a little bit. You can rest here just with your legs squeezing in to the blanket, or maybe it feels comfortable to draw the legs in one more time. And let's move to the other side. So first, find the bolster. Place that to the other side of your mat. Take your props with you as you arrive on the other hip. And stack the knees in line with the hips, the feet right down from the knees, and similar with the shoulders, one on top of the other. Readjust your blanket under your head if you need to. Now reach around behind you and snug, bolster up against the low back area, leaving some space for the shoulder. Inhale, reach the top arm up and twist open to the side. You might reach the other shoulder forward in the opposite direction, so that when you arrive in the twist, the hips seem to stack, the arms can go wide, and the bolster is still cradling your back body. Take whatever position is most comfortable for your head, your neck. A blurry gaze here or closed eyes. Again, relax through the legs. No effort in the inner legs. No effort in the arms. Total relaxation in your face. And this time, to come out of your twist, take an inhale and reach the arm that's facing away from your knees overhead, stacking everything back in the same direction. Begin to move what's on top of you, if you have a blanket on top of you, off to the side. Press into your palms and lift up nice and slow. And we'll dismantle the rest of what we've got going on from here. So the blanket now comes out of the knees, the bolster, pillow, everything to the side. Finally, we'll conclude this practice with legs up the wall, Viparita Karani. So take the blanket that was underneath your head, and now let's face it in line with the wall. You could either do this with your hips on the ground or with a little prop underneath the hips. So I'm going to place my bolster a couple, maybe a fist width distance away from the wall. And grab a blanket and keep your eye pillow nearby. Now sit with one of your hips on the bolster or just on the ground with your back to the wall, and spread your legs away from the center. With that arm, hinge forward, tuck and roll underneath that arm, and spin the legs up to the wall. If you don't quite arrive the first try, just ease your way and use your hands to find that space. Then take the blanket underneath the head. An option here to cocoon your legs in. So bend the knees for a moment, take the blanket over the tops of the feet, and let the legs go back up toward the wall. Then you can tuck the blanket around underneath the legs and over top of your body. Let the feet be a little bit free if you choose that variation so that they can soften with toes lightly flexed, just hanging out in the air. If you'd like to grab your eye pillow, place that to your eyes now and let your arms open into a V by your sides. Make any minor adjustments so that the bolster, if you have it, is underneath your back with your hips reaching toward the wall. The legs not necessarily all the way against the wall. Perhaps if the hamstrings are very active today, you could be farther away from the wall to accommodate that. If you ever start to feel a deep sense of uncomfortable tingling or numbness go into the legs, just bend your knees, send your feet down the wall. Pause until the blood returns, and then maybe try again, or come out of the posture entirely. Find your leg bones heavy into the sockets, your shoulders heavy on the ground, and the abdomen completely free to breathe. However your natural breath wants to breathe. As you come to stillness of the outer form, sink your inner attention to the heart. This is the inner stillness. The lotus of the heart, as the yogis called it. Whatever is flowering at this moment for you, just hold space for it. Be present with it. We'll stay here for some time together until I bring you out. very gently. Bring attention to the breath at the nose. A bigger breath to enter the body, to create movement. And exhale and empty. Sink into that heaviness. As you feel ready, begin to wiggle the fingers, open and close the palm, the toes as well, some movement. And bend the knees, drag the legs slowly down the wall. Planting the feet against the wall, the knees hug in. Remove your eye pillow if you have it. Drape your arms around your legs. Reach either arm above you. Roll to that side, using the arm bicep as a pillow and dropping your legs down to the ground. Let all the sensation flood back into the legs. Then press down into your hands. Slowly roll off your props. Come back up to a seat away from the wall for a moment, removing anything that you need to get to that space. And let's sit here in easy pose. Plant the hands together at the heart. Scan the inner body for how it feels. And notice that the very action of doing less, of doing not much at all, can have even more profound effects than when you try to do it all. Thanks for taking the time to practice with me. I hope you enjoyed this restorative practice. Namaste. I'm curious to hear how that went for you. Feel free to leave a comment or give this a thumbs up if you really enjoyed the practice. And of course, share with somebody who could use a little bit more slowing down in their life. I'll see you next time.